Welcome back to CoverStory Highlights, raw, unapologetic, and grounded in truth. This is my post-election analysis, and I deliberately waited until all recounts were completed and until I had the chance to visit some constituencies that, based on polling, the PNP should have won. I also spoke directly with voters on the ground to get first-hand insights. Let me say this at the outset. The PNP will be hard-pressed to win another general election in Jamaica after losing this one. History looks set to repeat itself, much like the Patterson versus Seaga era, where only one party, the PNP, consistently dominated. The JLP now has mastered the art of winning elections, and it will take more than messaging and promises to unseat them. And this is why the narrative from the General Secretary of the PNP, Dr. Dayton Campbell, that the party did well by coming second in a first-past-the-post system is simply illogical in my view. In this system, only the party with the majority wins power and form the government, and anything short of forming the government is not sufficient. For the JLP to lose another election after this one, and after their carefully carved out strategy that the PNP didn't see coming, they would have to wreck the economy so badly that the poor feel it in their standard of living. Anything short of that, the JLP's machinery looks unstoppable. During my visits to Kingston Central, St. Andrew West Rural, Manchester Central, St. James West Central, and Trelawny Northern, one thing stood out. The PNP lacked a robust election day ground game. Allegations of voter suppression and vote buying were widespread. And let's be clear, in Jamaica, there is a phrase that says, if the fish come from the water bottom and tell you it's deep, believe him. So yes, there were allegations of widespread vote buying and voter suppression in these constituencies that I visited. And I'm quite sure this is a microcosm of other battleground constituencies. So, even with those allegations of vote buying and voter suppression, there was a deeper problem, and that was the PNP's inability to energize its own base. If the PNP supporters were motivated and loyal, the outcome could have been different. Here is the truth. The JLP knew early on that it wasn't in a strong position nationally. So they came up with a plan, and the PNP never saw it coming. They micro-target key battleground seats, pumping resources into them, and flipped the margins. This strategy worked. Apart from seats lost in the 2020 COVID-affected election that seemed poised to return to the PNP, there were at least 6 constituencies plus 5 more I'll cover in another episode where the party should have won but didn't. Poor candidate selection and weak mobilization on the part of the PNP seal their fate. The other reality is the days of committed comrades are over. Money now plays a decisive role. And by most accounts, the PNP simply couldn't match the JLP's resources. Voters told me outright in the constituencies I visited, and I quote, PNP didn't have the kind of money the Labourite them have. On top of that, Andrew Holness outfoxed the PNP with election timing, calling the election during back-to-school season when parents were under financial pressure. And this played perfectly into the JLP's voter suppression strategy. They targeted struggling parents, pumped resources into these areas, and it worked. It was a gamble, but it paid off. This was CoverStory Highlights. Join me next time for another gripping episode as we continue to hold them accountable. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and drop your comments below.